she was kicking ass most of the time, just to be really clear.
I was going to say, we could just look at the numbers. You were kicking ass the entire time.
I do love it when she'll say, "Oh, you did tell me this, but we're doing it now."
Yeah.
She's gracious that way.
I mean, I don't think you can build a big business and not fail a lot, guys. I hate to break it to you. So
yes.
Yeah. You can be crushing it and failing at the same time.
Jay, when Wendy wins, what part of you lights up?
Are you talking about when I win the arguments or what?
Any context. Could be the argument, could be outside of the argument.
When she squats more weight than I can.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. Welcome back to Coachable. I'm your host, Philip Aldifer. And on Coachable, we explore what it means to build big businesses and big lives by following the models, habits, and behaviors of world-class performers. And today is a treat. I'm joined by two people who have not only built something huge in the real estate world, but have done so together as a team, as a couple, and as co-creators of something far bigger than real estate sales or success. Wendy Papasan is the founder of Papasan Properties in Austin, Texas, a powerhouse real estate team that has helped thousands of families move with clarity. She's an acclaimed host on the Empire Builder podcast and a co-founder of Her Best Life, a community for female business leaders that helps fuel transformative growth. Jay Papasan is the vice president of strategic content at Keller Williams Realty, a frequent main stage guest and keynote speaker, and co-author, along with Gary Keller, of books like The Millionaire Real Estate Investor, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and The One Thing. Basically, every book your real estate coach told you to read more than once. But today, we're not just talking about real estate, books, or leadership. We're going to pull back the curtain. We're going to talk about how they partner, how they plan, how they push each other, and how they pull each other forward. This is a power couples conversation with my very special guests, Wendy and Jay Papasan. When you were starting out, were you conscious of dividing the roles between the two of you, or did that develop organically in business, in life? I mean, as you were planning, I'm going to go do this, you're going to do that, or did that evolve?
There was organic, and then there was purposeful, and then organic. Like you go back and forth, but like things shifted a lot when we had the kids, and Wendy like very consciously came to me and asked for a rebalancing of this and that, and awareness around things that I was doing that I didn't need to do, and vice versa. So I think it's something that comes up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird, those early how those early tasks get divided in your marriage. I actually wanted to do an exercise at our couples goal setting retreat. Mm-hmm. Where couples get to go back and they get to kind of reimagine their chores, because so many chores are, first of all, they're weirdly gender based, somehow like laundry is like a female task, and taking the trash out is a thing, a guy thing. And, there's all these studies that show that same sex couples, they actually have a way better division of labor than traditional couples do. Yeah. Because, there's a lot of, especially for women, there's a lot of the stuff goes to the woman. So I think, we had these, for some reason I started to pay the bills at the beginning. Yeah. And then I quit my job and I was a stay-at-home mom for 5 years. And so I took on a lot of the real estate investing. I became the landlady. I was the one that interacting with the bookkeeper. And so a lot of that has just carried forward, which is why, even though Jay raised his hand as the spreadsheet person, like really I was doing for so many years all the financials for everything in our life. Yeah. And I still really do. I manage them. We have help now, but so I was the one always doing the taxes. I was the one talking to our tenants. I was the one getting the tenants. I was, doing all that part of it. And some of it was just Jay had a full-time job, and so I was able to take on some of those things. And then I just kept some of those things after I started our real estate business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did you manage the conflict or the challenge, say when both of you wanted to do something or neither of you wanted to do a thing, but you knew that it needed to be done.
I think either someone like one of the things that we can do when we're operating well is just one of us will point out it's not being done. And like we both run businesses. So we know that someone has to claim it or it won't get done.
Yeah.
And so like if there's a task that I normally do and I'm out of town, I'll ask like, hey, can you make sure that maybe our son does it? Or can you do this and vice versa? And, but like, yeah, I just think communication when it matters is like the key to how those things happen.
Yeah. And I think, Jay alluded to our goal setting retreat that we do. And so every year we take a weekend and we set goals together as a family. And the goals are for our personal life, they're for our business, they're for our financial life, for our family. And usually at that time, one of us takes ownership over the goals. And then, we try to revisit them along the way. Like I just did a quarterly reflect and plan. I took an afternoon off and I pulled up our goals that we had created in the fall and was just checking in to see how we were doing on them. But I mean, again, it's like some of those original roles are still in place. I still manage our real estate portfolio. We've got a big 3-unit construction that just broke ground. I'm the one working with the architects. I'm getting the loan together. I'm doing all that. So a lot of that just carried forward,
Just carried forward.
I mean, and it also makes sense. You also run our construction company and the real estate company. So there's a lot of resources that align, but but that is all true.
And so it is that combination of organic and purposeful. Organic because the role's developed, purposeful because you're conscious about looking at it each year, each quarter, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're enjoying this conversation so far, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. That helps us out a lot. And if you want the model from my conversation with our guest, check out the link in the comments below. Now let's get back to it. Where's the biggest communication challenge?
There are plenty.
Yeah. I mean, it shows up in our workouts with our poor trainer every now and then, you're up early in the morning, you're working out together and you're sore about something. I don't love to address hard conversations, and Wendy wants me to stay in front of them.
Okay.
So,
Well, I think some of it, we have good systems in place, and sometimes those systems fall apart, and that's when the communication falls apart. We have a weekly date night, and that's probably, if I had to pick one thing that was, that Jay could do to make me feel great as a best friend is uphold that date night. And, lately we just, for whatever reason, I've been traveling, we've been traveling. We just haven't had a date night, in a month.
Yeah.
And so that's when that happens, communication starts to erode because that's our focus time to be able to do that. And, we both travel a lot. So it could be just passing in the night a little bit.
Yeah. 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 You just answered the question, which was, what's the one unsexy habit that is critical? There may be another one, right? But
date night can be sexy, Philip. Come on.
That's true. But it's the thing that wouldn't make it on the keynote.
That's kind of the point of date night, if I'm honest.
That's kind of the point of date night. Exactly. Yeah. If we're being honest. Yeah. Success looks like, Gary says this all the time, right? Success looks like doing the things that matter the most as often as you can, right? Just do that one thing.
Yeah.
We've got a decent amount of time that gets curated together. We work out 3 times a week pretty regularly. Yeah. We often spend time on the couch in the morning, and that's quiet time, but it's also an opportunity to run by our days and check. And it's not a strict system so much as it's more of a routine. Probably 3 Sundays out of 4 in a month. We'll both be working on our monthly or weekly goals at the same time on the couch with the dog in between us. And we've kind of come into that semi-purposeful routine where a lot of the things that have to get addressed. But we also have really big, busy lives. Wendy's running... She's, an owner and running 3 kind of companies, and she's on a couple of boards. She's got a huge life. And at different times, this last year, I needed a heck of a lot more support. than maybe in the previous year. And like, there's some years like it's one of those things that has to kind of be balanced in real time, because it's just not like, it's not like you find the perfect balance and it works. Like, so much of like a healthy marriage is that everybody always kind of feels like, I mean, the responsibility bias says we always feel like whatever work we do for the family is more important. That's just how our brains work. Whatever you're doing, you think is more important.
Yeah.
And it may or may not all be perfectly balanced, but if we communicate and can ask for help, or at least the other person can see we need help, then that allows us to kind of lean in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have lots of intersections, whether that happens purposefully, like on the goal setting retreat, where we really, really address them very purposefully, or casually at a date night, or while we're working out, or while we're on the couch preparing for our day or for our week. So I think we have lots of opportunities to cross-pollinate ideas and just to have those discussions. Doesn't mean we're perfect about taking advantage of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of the story in some ways about the way a GPS works on an airplane, right? An airplane is basically off course all the time. And the purpose of the GPS is those microscopic little moves in whatever engine speed and direction to make sure that it lands where it needs to be, right? If you just set it on a course and let it go, there is absolutely no way the plane flying from Anchorage lands in LA. It lands in the Pacific Ocean somewhere.
If you're 1 degree off in a plane, every 60 miles, you're a mile off course.
Yeah.
So that's the 1 in 60 rule. And so like the more frequently you check in, which is a GPS, which is real time, the course corrections just aren't as big.
Yeah.
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 We know this emotionally. When we save up the conversation for too long, it has too much emotion attached to it, right? Because we've been not having the conversation or whatever that is, whether it's with your partner or your employee or whatever, you can end up kind of packing in a lot of baggage instead of just having the quick conversation in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost always better to have it in the moment before it has the chance to build up.
Yeah. Don't let it fester.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the one thing in your marriage right now? Not the book, right? But what's the one thing that you prioritize now?
I would say probably the ritual we're really purposeful because it also involves another human being, is the training routine in the mornings. Like we have to, Wendy's often will like look at our travel schedule and she'll reach out to David, our trainer, and say, we're going to be gone or missing on these dates, and exchange the dates. But it does require communication so that can happen. So the gift of having a third party, and it's really good for us. We're both like, Wendy's super committed to her health, and I'm happy to be tagging along. But we do hard work together pretty frequently in the mornings, and she also will go out with her friend on the weekends. So like that's my blank. What would you say, Wendy?
What's your...
What's the one thing that we're prioritizing in our marriage? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like as a couple.
The one thing, as a couple, what do you prioritize to keep that relationship strong?
I mean, I think that as a practical thing, what Jay said is true, but I think one of the reasons our marriage has lasted so long and we have such a great marriage is I just think we prioritize like the respect we have for each other, because marriage has ups and downs. You can't live with someone for 26 years now almost, and not have stuff get in the way, and not have, when your kids are little, life is stressful, and they're just different points in your life that, you're just stressed in your life. Yeah. And so I think for us, we've always prioritized, like maybe you always love someone, but maybe you don't always like them, for a certain amount of time. And so I think prioritizing the respect for each other, I know I just have so much respect for Jay and everything that he's done and the way he shows up as a leader in our house and as a father and as a husband. I think we both have a lot of respect for each other. And I think that's really helped us both grow as individuals, wanting to continue to have each other's respect. We both want to grow together. And so I would say definitely as a practical matter, prioritizing the personal trainer, but like in the bigger sense, like prioritizing that respect for each other.
That respect for each other.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I was looking for like, if you said, well, prove it, like you could see it on our calendars. Yeah. So like my brain was in a different space, but I love that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and seeing it on the calendar, and as you said, holding strong, for example, to the commitment to date night, that is a sign of the not only what you want or need yourself, but the respect in which you're held by the other person. Are they able to, to flex or adjust? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your conflict diffuser? Is it humor? Do you give each other space? Is it sticky notes? I'm sorry. Like, conflict is inevitable, right?
Yeah.
How do you diffuse them?
For me, communication, time, and space. Like either I'm brave enough to talk about it, which I'm not always, and Wendy calls me out on. Because the other way I get it is like, you know what? A lot of things don't have to be challenged and addressed, but they'll just kind of like, do we really need to have a talk about X? Or can I just say that's just a day that didn't work out well and I'm going to move on? And most of the time, by tomorrow morning, I feel fine about it.
Yeah.
I was like, why was I pissed off last night anyway?
Yeah. I think
it's ridiculous.
That's so true. I think you can get really wrapped up in the little, sometimes it's those little things that you found so like quaint and quirky when you were dating. And then all of a sudden you have to live with them for 10 years and you're like, wait a minute. But it's really, I think, just loving that person for who they are.
Yeah.
And then, so many things are just going to bother you.
Yeah.
About, not only the person that you're with, but, your kids and your, people in your business and things like that. Yeah. And it's like, the only thing you can really control about that is your own feelings around it. And so if it's something big that needs to be addressed and you've got really strong feelings about it, then address it. But otherwise it's like, you know what, every little thing, I think that's people probably get divorced like that,
Yeah. Where do you see that? You mentioned business. And that is kind of a different environment. What's the conflict diffusion? How do you diffuse conflict in a business context? Because you both, you're in business in so many ways together, but you're also in business with other people. You have partners in your other businesses. Mm-hmm. How do you resolve challenges when they show up in that environment?
Well, I think one of their strategies is to avoid having them. So like, I'm very clear who's the CEO of Papasan Properties Group, even though my name is also on it.
Yeah.
And what I'm there to support Wendy's efforts, has led the team, done the transactions from day one. I just get to be a co-owner in that. So I have to wear a hat of when she wants advice or perspective that I can provide or influence or whatever I can provide. She typically is good about asking it. And my job is to show up and support her there. So like there's roles. Like when we go on our goal setting retreat, I kind of feel like we act like each other's kind of board members for each other's businesses and also friendly ear because we've both been there. Mm-hmm. But we don't have a lot of jobs in each other's businesses. Wendy has always helped our One Thing business. The whole goal setting retreat was her idea. And so she graciously shows up and brings her audience to our events and often delivers the big moments from the stage. Mm-hmm. So we support each other, but we're also clear about roles and responsibilities. I can give Wendy advice, but she's running that company. So it's her right to also ignore it. Yeah. And so that's my answer. I'm not speaking for my wife. That's another way to avoid conflict. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
Let me mansplain this to you.
Let's mansplain this. Exactly. I've got a great idea. Let me tell you. Yeah.
I think it's so true. And then, I think what's been great is, obviously Jay was an expert in real estate, being the co-author of so many real estate books. for so many years. And when I started my business, there was a lot of rub because, I was like, hey, I appreciate this advice. And, I'm down in the trenches. I'm doing the dirty work right now. And here you are like telling me what to do. Oh. And, when
peanut gallery, like literally like peanut gallery,
peanut gallery type.
Hey, you on stage. Yeah.
Well, but, and like, I know that there are lots of advice that you gave me at the beginning that I, in retrospect, I wish I had taken, I was trying to kind of forge my own path. And so I think a lot of that's over, because I really understand that Jay is truly, he's an expert, he's interviewed thousands and thousands of, and to be an amazing coach, you don't have to necessarily like play the game, but, he's graciously allowed me to fail a lot, at the beginning and make my own mistakes. So I appreciate that. That's what you want.
She was kicking ass most of the time, just to be really clear.
I was going to say, we could just look at the numbers. You were kicking ass the entire time.
I do love it when she'll say, oh, you did tell me this, but we're doing it now.
Yeah.
She's gracious that way.
I mean, I don't think you can build a big business and not fail a lot, guys. I hate to break it to you. So
yes.
Yeah. You can be crushing it and failing at the same time.
Absolutely. But that idea of being clear about the role and clear about that board of directors comment is like that you're there I can give you advice or give you an opinion, but ultimately it's your choice to ignore it, right? That's being clear about who gets to advise and who gets to ignore in their context, I think is really valuable. Yeah.
I think we know the industry. There are a lot of husband and wife teams that have actual jobs in the company.
Yeah.
She might be the listing agent and he's managing the back office, like whatever that distribution of labor is. And when people ask me, when I've interviewed couples that have been together a long time, like they are fairly clear, as are their people, about who's in charge of what in the business.
Who does what. Yeah.
It's really dysfunctional otherwise. If it's just like kids. Well, mom said I can't have ice cream. I'm going to go ask dad. Yeah. And so like they need to know who gets to say yes and no, just like you both do.
Yeah. Yeah. Clarity is power. Yeah. Clarity is power. Jay, when Wendy wins, what part of you lights up?
Are you talking about when I win the arguments or what?
Any context. Could be the argument, could be outside of the argument.
When she squats more weight than I can.
There we go. Exactly. Yeah. When her deadlift is more than yours. Yeah.
I am exceedingly proud to be her husband. Like I spent a lot of my life like being acknowledged as Gary Keller's co-author. And you're Larry Papasan's son. Oh, you're Jan Mars's brother. Like I'm okay being the partner in things. And I feel like I won the lottery. So like I feel immense pride to have someone that's such a great leader and so accomplished that I get to run around with every day.
You're sweet.
It's true.
All right.
It's true.
When Jay wins, Wendy, what part of you is proudest?
Well, if we're competing against each other, then I'm upset.
A board game. We're not talking about board games.
Because we're both competitive. But I feel the same way. Of course, I'm so happy. I'm so happy Jay's had so many accomplishments. We've been so blessed by Keller Williams and the people that have poured into us over the years. And so it's just been, it's like I said, I have so much respect for Jay and everything that he's accomplished. And I don't believe that we would have done as much individually if we'd not been together. I really believe that we have a marriage where we both push each other to grow. And it's funny, even I think sometimes at home on the weekends, we just like our kids are like, we like it when one of you is gone because then the other parent is like more chill, so there's something about our relationship where I don't know, it's like there's like two magnets hitting and there's like this energy. That's kind of what it is for us. It's always been that way. So
somebody who knows chemistry, comment below if you're watching this later, but I think is that a catalyst? Like, isn't it a catalyst in a chemical reaction that makes the other thing do better or go farther or whatever.
Yeah.
I think if you have magnets facing each other, they push away. But if you put them together, they're actually increase the force.
Increase the force.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was going in my brain, is that for our kids, a lot of times, like, we both tend to be fairly decisive. It's crazy. And the years have made it more likely. Like, we had a designer coming in to do like a color palette for a complete remodel of our home, and he thought it was going to take a long time. And he had this very like extensive process, and we were like, that one, like, we were done.
Yeah.
And so that is a burden for our kids, because we tend to be highly aligned and we tend to be very decisive. And I feel bad for them, because it's not fair for, if they want to actually think about it.
Yeah.
And we're both kind of like a lot of people. I mean, I know I can be very like, okay, once we decided to go, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah. Mom and dad are both moving 1,000 miles an hour. Wait a minute. I need some.
Yeah. Well, especially our youngest son struggles with decision making. And so, his whole life, it's been like, let's go. Let's think, come on, figure it out. Let's go. And Jay and I both have, if you've done Strength Finders, we both have strategic in our top 5 strengths. So not only do we move fast, both of us can really see, and we have different perspectives. So Jay's pretty skeptical and I'm pretty optimistic, and we just have different other strengths, but we're both strategic. So it's almost like we can iterate multiple, answers or ideas. And between the two of us, we'll just, decide on one and go. And, I said, actually, we were coming out of the grocery store or Target or something the other day. Don't you remember this? I was like, I just can't imagine like getting divorced and having to go to the grocery store with somebody else, because like somebody who's, that person who's like looking at the apple and like smelling the whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we were just
we've gone shopping with other people and we're like, oh my God, how long is it going to take them in this store? Like, we finished this store half an hour ago.
We're done, man. We're Which one of these 12 chicken noodle soups are we going to buy today? Let's read the labels.
Like, who would I go to the grocery store with? I mean,
I love that.
You just made me think, and it's been like more than a decade. We went shopping with one of my good friends in West Texas, and his wife is very methodical when she's clothes shopping.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to look at every item on the rack.
She was trying to get a couch.
Oh God. I just remember we were both just about to spontaneously combust.
Yeah. Like, poke your eye out with a fork.
Oh, exactly. This has got to be over. Okay. So how do you how do you resolve it then, if you both are strategic thinkers and you both move quickly? Tell me about how you handle a circumstance where one of you wants to go in one direction and the other one wants to go in a different direction, whether that's business or life or whatever. I mean, let's say you both think strategically, but come up with completely opposite answers.
Well, I would say on the little decisions, we bicker a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like we both have our own little idea about like this or this. And then, one of us will be like, okay, fine, Yeah. And
if we want to be passive aggressive, we'll say, you win. We'll do it your way.
You win. Yeah. But I think on the big decisions, we're really remarkably aligned, we're remarkably aligned. And, I'm generally, I have more of like an activator personality. So a lot of times I'll rely on, I feel like Jay's a little bit better at like the more skeptical, deep thinking. So I rely on him to have really good advice as far as that goes. And then I will kind of take our decision and put it into action. I'm trying to think of a major decision where one of us was like, let's do it. Even recently, I've found a piece of property that I feel like you had a lot of reservations around, Jay.
Yeah. It would have been an enormous purchase that required us to sell other assets.
Okay.
But that's a domain, as Wendy pointed out, like on the real estate front, managing our investments and stuff. She's been doing that for a long time. So like, I just have a high level of trust. I can ask questions And I have to remind her sometimes, like, I am very programmatically going to ask, how will we fail? And I get into action like, oh, if those are the 3 potholes, I can steer around those.
Yeah.
And now I'm gone.
Okay.
But my brain, Wendy's more optimistic than I am. She sees all of the road that has no potholes, and I just see the potholes. Yeah. Not that she can't, but that's
I see
natural.
the potholes, but I got to put my, I got to put that, I got to put that hat on,
That's where we converge. And so she'll look to my natural kind of skepticism to kind of look for the holes, and I'll lean into her optimism. Like, we'll make this work. Like when I do have trepidation, and we complement each other well. Yeah. Like I've had to make a lot of career changes. Like I'm running the One Thing company. I'm the podcast host. I've had to rebalance my life. Mm-hmm. And Wendy gets to see that from a perspective. And so like, we don't always agree in the moment on exactly what the next step is, but like, I appreciate her appraisal. Like, but some things they're still in process, like, but for the most part on the big decisions, we've been really good at finding an accommodation that doesn't leave one person feeling overly vulnerable and the other person, like, there's some like Keller Williams win-win in there, right? Yeah. I don't think either of us will make a big choice for the family that truly feels like the other person is outright losing. I just don't think either of us has that. We're just not selfish people that way. We can be selfish at times, like every human being. Yeah.
Yeah. That goes back to that idea of role clarity, right? You use the example like the husband-wife real estate team, right? How often have we seen we should invest, we should double down on this lead gen source, we should hire this person. No, I don't think so. And when both people are trying to make the same sets of decisions, those opportunities for that real actual conflict, like different, we've reached different conclusions.
Yeah. I mean, I was teaching a class yesterday and the day before and on career visioning on, how to hire and train great people. And there was indeed a couple in there who was in that boat and they were asking me questions. And so I came up to them on the break and I was like, help me understand what's going on here. And it's like, really, he was not staying in his own lane. And that was very frustrating for her. And I think, he was a kind of the stronger personality and it was just really causing a major disruption in their business and on their team. And he actually kind of knew, but I think our little coaching moment, hopefully, was enough. Yeah. So he's going to go back. They're going to go back and figure out their roles. Yeah. Which is something that in any business, you're constantly doing as the business grows. Exactly. I mean, you should be doing it every 6 months, or if your business is in any kind of growth mode, hey, what are we doing? Like, who can do this? Like, what's your highest and best use? What do you want to fire yourself from? Yeah.
Yeah. It's that and it was probably one of the two of you that I heard it from, right? That idea that you can't simultaneously hold trust and control. Like if
not for me, but that's a good line.
I love it. Sounds like Brene Brown, but
it's that idea. Like if I trust you, I actually I will not want to control the thing. If I want to control the thing, at some level at heart, it's because I don't really trust that you're going to do it the right way, do it the way I do it, whatever it is. But you can't simultaneously hold those two emotions. They just don't exist together. If you trust someone, go do it. You two clearly have a very high level of trust in each other's, the decisions you would each make. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I said that, like, Wendy is in the day-to-day of real estate. I mean, your business is sold like 2,000 families. What is it now? 2,500?
2,300.
2,300 families. Yeah. When she says this is a great deal, like, I would be stupid to doubt her. Right. Yeah. So I think that we each have some well-earned trust, not blind faith. I think trust has a basis of some evidence to it. Yeah. And asking someone to just believe you is a little different.
Yeah. Take it on faith. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to in a marriage, but that's true. Sure. But like, I think I love the word trust because I do think the way I interpret it, like, I completely trust Wendy in like every major role she does with our family. She's incredibly competent.
Yeah. Yeah. that just creates such a psychological safe space and the opportunity for you each to excel.
Yeah.
Like room to thrive.
I guess the one area that we have conflict at is like, I'm a horrible passenger. That's the only area where I probably should trust her, and I just can't.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't like to drive.
Yeah. I mean, even if we're driving to West Texas for 8 hours in the car, I'll be like, I'll drive the whole way. I'll drive the whole way.
Yeah.
Got it.
And that kind of is win-win, but like, I should trust her. It's not like she's had a million accidents. Correct. I tease her about the couple that she's had, but I've had more.
More.
So, but I like to drive. But for the most part, I think we trust each other, especially in our competence zones.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally stay in your own lane as it relates to driving. Yeah.
Although Jay has developed a really bad peanut butter pretzel habit lately. So that might be the only other area where I'm just starting to
question the judgment.
Boxes and boxes are showing up at our house like every week. So
well, I figured out if you order Trader Joe's, which are now we've tasted a lot, are the best peanut butter pretzel nuggets out there, bar none. And it takes about 4 weeks to get them on Amazon if I'm just trying to hit the easy button. So I had 4 bags delivered. I mean, come on. Like,
perfectly
I need to
plausible.
Get a large supply. I can't just get them, same day delivery if I have an urge.
Exactly. Never know when we're not going to be able to get them anymore. Of course, I need these crates of pretzels. That's awesome.
Maybe there'll be a tariff put on pretzels. I mean,
pretzels.
Goodness gracious, exactly. We'll be ahead of the curve.
Oh my gosh, a peanut butter tariff.
Peanut butter tariff.
Now we're talking revolution, baby. No way.
That's all right. One of the things you two are really, I think, known for among the people that know you more than just superficially is that you're both really careful and thoughtful parents. But you're just good parents. So what I'm curious about is parenting teens and running big businesses. Right. So on a scale from namaste to oh my God, where are you this week and how do you manage that? How do you manage the parenting business dilemma?
That's a good question. Well, luckily our kids are 19 and 20 now. So it's a lot more namaste these days than it was in the past, for sure. Yeah.
Wendy's got a tremendous rapport with both of them. So she's really good with both. I have you go in and out of cycles in some relationships. Like I feel really great about where I am with our oldest and where he's at. Yeah. But we got 2 boys. They both kind of turned to mom right now, and that's okay with me. But you asked that question and going in my head, it's like, how many parents will honestly say, I feel like I'm winning? Even right now, where I do think it is like when he said namaste, I guess because it matters so much, I really always see the shortfalls. So I feel like we're conscientious and we try and we care. And our kids absolutely know that we love them for who they are. Yeah. And we're there and we have a safe environment. But we've failed on different hygiene metrics with 2 boys at different places and you name it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that our kids are really comfortable expressing who they are and being in their own skin. And, we encourage them to really, live their best life and be who they want to be. And I personally feel like as a parent, that's the best gift that you can give your kids. And they both really feel that way. And I think they've always felt that way. And, they're not burdened by this, as so many kids are, with this, like, I'm not living up to my parents' expectations of me, because we have expectations for them in a lot of realms. But in terms of like career or finance or money or so many of those shallow metrics, I think that a lot of people are judged by, we truly have always wanted our kids to run towards what, they're passionate about. And I think that shows up for them.
Yeah. I heard recently the idea, someone said the worst question you can ask a kid is what they want to do when they grow up.
Where did we see that? Was that was that the Stoic?
It may have been, but the counter was who do you want to be?
Yeah.
It may have been Daily Stoic. It may have been Ryan. There's something like just that idea
I saw that recently. I love that.
Yeah, I love that idea. Like, ask who do you want to become, right? How do you create a space for that? So how did you manage the challenges of?
We did a little bit with Gus, our oldest. He's come and he's done his core values more than once.
Interesting.
And I mean, you can ask him, and like, gosh, we were talking about it when we were going to get tacos. Like, it's a simpler metric. Like, he doesn't know what he's going to do per se, not even for his internship this summer, right? Like, that's okay. But I think he's got some sort of compass around who he is and maybe wants to be. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. Like in the absence of saying, well, you need to pick soon, kid, astronaut or doctor. Like, that's not us. Okay. But we do care about whether they kind of understand and have a compass to make good decisions. I mean, I just want them to make great decisions. Yeah. That's it. If they go out and can make great decisions that for themselves and maybe their future families, I'll feel like job well done.
But to be clear, they are teenagers, and often they do not make great decisions.
No. They're the worst. They're the worst. 19. You said 19 and 20?
19 and 20. Yeah,
I'm at the 16.
All the prefrontal cortex is all flooded, with hormones. So,
they can be I've got the 16 stupid. And 13 stage. So we're at that. Just, they're the worst. The worst. All right. For a question for both of you, right? You've lived very public lives over the last 5, 10, 15 years. What is the thing that either individually or collectively lights your fire right now behind the scenes? What's the backstage project that gets you out of bed each morning?
Are you prepared to sign an NDA?
Absolutely.
It's not like Backstage. It's just started coming out. Like, we're about to launch the first book for me, and Wendy's huge, like, a part of this. It'll be Rookie Real Estate Agent. Oh, yeah. And it'll be the first book that I've done as a part of this stage of my career with just my name on it. Okay. And so, like, that's coming to light in the next couple of months. It doesn't go on sale till September, but that's pretty exciting. I know my mom's pretty proud.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say my Backstage project is always developing the people in my world, so helping them learn and grow. And we have an organization called Her Best Life. Mm-hmm. And we have a kind of like a premier leadership membership, and watching these women grow in every aspect of their life is really, that is everything for me. So when I think about what brings me joy and really all the business that I do, is really developing the people. I just feel like I've been so blessed to have an incredible education to be where we are. I feel like I have an incredible marriage. I love my kids. They love me. We're blessed with businesses and wealth and our health. And that's all been really intentional for us. And so to be able to pour back into other people and, help them grow different areas of your life is just, that's always my secret behind the scenes Backstage project. Yeah. So, I mean, my mission is to empower and inspire big thinking leaders to create lives of abundance. And in whatever way I can do that is truly what makes me happy.
Yeah. We'll put links to both of those in the show notes below. And if you've not been to the Her Best Life website, that is a powerhouse group of women. That's a really cool crew. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really great. It's because it's like a generational thing. We had an event yesterday afternoon, and one of our Empire Circle members brought her 11-year-old daughter with her. Oh. 11-year-old daughter came. Okay. So she said, "Mom, what are you doing this afternoon?" Her mom was like, "I'm doing this thing." And she's like, "I really want to come." And her mom was like, I don't know, you're in school. And so she convinced her mom to bring her, which was great. And at one point she stood up and the most powerful words came out of her mouth in this room of 100 women. And then somebody else said, like, hey, how old are you? Because she looks older. She looks like she's probably like 15 or 14. And she definitely speaks that way. And she's like, I'm 11. And the room was like, whoa. So, just like even that moment, creating that moment for this young woman that's a lightning moment for her,
Yeah. Yeah. To which everybody said, welcome, Madam President. That's
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And she's
That's
good
awesome.
at math too. So.
Oh, yeah. All right. We're coming to the end. I want to respect your time. So we're going to go rapid fire. Okay. Quick, just for fun. I'm going to name the topic. You give your partners one thing for it. Okay. So Wendy, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Jay's one best productivity tool.
Oh, 411.
411. Oh, I love the 411.
And she says it on April 11th.
On April 11th. Oh, that's so perfect.
It's 411 day.
All right. Jay, Wendy's secret stress habit.
Ooh.
Gosh, we gifted ourselves, I don't know if it was 2 years ago, a hot tub. Oh. And like she will often say, hey, she's just going, or she'll say, do you want to join me? Sure. Yeah. But I don't know that it's like, I don't know that you've ever posted on social media or anything. So nobody knows about that. But like, that is a place you go to unwind some days.
Sure.
Okay. The hot tub. I love it.
You could have said something a lot worse. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Other than peanut butter pretzels, Wendy, Jay's guilty pleasure.
Oh, reading.
Oh.
Jay reads a lot. Yeah. I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure. But...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. I was going to say like the action movies and stuff I watch.
My second thought was like Reacher, like those.
Yeah. Like I'll watch, I know that you're not going to waste your brain on it, but I'll go in there and watch it. And I know I just need to check out.
Yeah. And fighting a 7 foot tall guy on Reacher. That's it. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Like, he's a giant.
He is a giant. He's a giant human being. Jay, Wendy's growth edge right now. What's the secret sauce that's giving her a growth advantage?
I think she has built, through her best life, she has built a phenomenal network of allies and resources, and also through her charity work. Like, if Wendy doesn't have the answer, she's delivered so much value. She knows the person or the person who knows the person to get the answer. So like I look up and I just think like when I want to know, hey, who is doing whatever, I can go to Wendy and get like 3 really good answers because she's just got wires built into this industry, especially with women entrepreneurs.
I love that. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, take a team, go with the team.
Yeah.
Now, for each of you, either collectively or separately, doesn't matter. This is the Tim Ferriss question. I stole it from him, but I still love it. You could put a billboard. Put a billboard anywhere you want with any message you want. What's the billboard you would put out into the world today?
Start sooner. That's what I need to see.
That's really good.
Historically.
I'm going to say be kind. I think the world needs a little bit more kindness these days. So
2 really powerful messages. Okay.
Got a coffee mug with that. I was looking for it to show.
Start sooner.
Yes.
So when we were getting ready for this, and I just want to share this with both of you, the folks that helped me with research said, give me like a few little like both parting thoughts and beginning thoughts. Think about this as it relates to the guests that are coming on the show. Okay. They said about you, Wendy, Wendy has deep leadership presence. Ask her about community and empowerment. Right. Jay is reflective, tap into systems, writing, mindset, and don't be afraid of a little bit of vulnerability. These 2 have range.
So true.
And our team nailed it. Wendy, Jay. Thank you for being on Coachable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. What an honor.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for watching another episode of Power Couples here at Coachable. As a coach, I know that feedback is the breakfast of champions, so I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with one takeaway, comment, or idea you heard that you want to put into your relationships this week. Thanks for watching.